This is Sean, and this is Brooker. Today we're going to be working on a Ford Focus. We're going to be going over a strut tower plate.
We're going to install the one on the Ford Focus today, which looks like this. And then we're also going to show you how it relates to the Ford Taurus. It's a similar design, just with a little bit of different. Sean, how about you explain this designs?
Alright, today we're going to be talking about the tower plates. We have the Ford Focus tower plates and we have the older Taurus tower plates here. We have the hardware set up over here. We're going to explain how it all goes together and goes in the vehicle. Alright, so what we're going to do, we have a left plate and we have a right plate. You can see on there's a little marking. And what we do is the long bolts will sit in there like that, and they can sit in the upward direction. There is no, just friction is what's going to hold them into place. These have a little locking tab on them, so when you crank them down, they go on real easy. This is what'll lock it in. The friction will hold it from spinning. You will have also 3 of these bolts that go in the downward direction. The plate itself gives you a 1/4 degree of positive camber change when you install it. Each mark gives you another additional 1/4 change, and so these will be mounted down. You can see these 3 are down. This is the Taurus plate. These are the Focus plate. That's the difference inside, the difference between them, but they do the same functionality. So you have this plate here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart, have these all go in, and we also have in the kits themselves, we have hardware, and there's, if you have the clearance, you can use the larger nut. If you do not, you can use the other smaller nut. Well, the reason for that clearance issue is when the plate itself is in there, there's room between here and the top of the tower. If you have the larger nut, sometimes if the bearing plates wore out, it can rub. So you got to make sure you have enough clearance in there. So that is what we're going to do. All right, so one of the benefits of installing this kit is the alternative is taking a rotary file tool and elongating the holes and cutting the spot welds and everything out. This installs with no cutting of the vehicle. And then also, during installing this, if you have any questions, we have a little sticker in here with a phone number, and you can talk to myself or any available technical assistant here, which will walk you through installing any of this.
Okay, so we've already done a pre-alignment check here, check for any worn, loose parts or anything like that. And now we have done the alignment to get a baseline, and we've recorded the numbers so that we know what kind of changes that will have to take place on the plates here. So we're gonna be able to get to work. Ready?
All right, sounds good. Let's go.
All right, so here's our baseline numbers. As you can see, we've got a little bit of an issue going on the right-hand side. There's a negative 1.4 camber, so we're gonna fix that. That's what our products do.
All right, right now we're going to get the vehicle up in the air and take the weight off of the suspension.
All right, so we're going to take the brake line clip out. If you do have ABS or anything, you're going to want to remove that stuff also. All right, so we're going to pull the clip out here, brake line clip, so that this is free, so we can take the strut out. If you have any ABS wires, you also want to disconnect those at this time also.
The next step is to remove the sway bar link from the strut so we can pull the strut out.
All right, so what we're doing here is this is the strut. We have to separate it from the knuckle. You can see that it's down here and it's pinched into place. And what we're going to do is we're going to put on some of our pieces here. Kit itself goes in there. Now we do have this pin, so sometimes you can put the pin back here if you need to. What you do is you get it in there and push push down. And you got little steps, push down even further. All right, sometimes you need to go a little further with the other spacer. So we'll put that in there. Slide this up into place. You don't always need that pin back there, but get that in there like so. Get it locked in there, pin in there. And you can see, if you can come in at this angle right here, you can watch it separate. Just like that. Beautiful. And you can see that it is now separated. We got the brake line out of the way, and it just pops out nice and easy.
Move these 3 nuts and drop the whole strut assembly out the bottom.
And there it is. All right, now with the strut out and on the bench, we'll show you how to put the tower plate on. It basically goes right on top of the bearing plate.
All right, so if you just want a 1/4 degree of positive camber change, what you do is you find the one for the left-hand side, put the plate on there. You might need to just tap it on just a little bit. It's a nice tight fit, and just install it like that. Put your nuts back on there, and this will give you a 1/4 degree of positive camber change. And it basically is what it does is just the height of the plate itself is what gives you the camber change. So that is for a 1/4 degree of camber change only.
All right, and next we'll show you what you would do if you're going more than a 1/4.
All right, so what we're doing is we're gonna remove these 3 studs here. Sometimes the stud itself, to get it to pass by here, you need to use a cutoff tool to cut it off and then tap it out. We're just gonna tap on here and see if we have enough room to tap them out. Go.
So what you can do is cut these out with a cutoff wheel, and then obviously you'll just have to get the remainder out with a punch.
All right, so we have them cut down. You can come in here, we can tap these out. If that doesn't work, you can also use an air hammer and punch them out too. All right, so what we've done is we've just kind of secured this in here by the tower plate, so we're trying not to wreck anything. And then we're gonna just take the air hammer, tap it out. Just like that, and we'll get the top one too. All right, so we have the strut as if it was in the car. I'd be the engine, you'd be the tire.
The tire.
You'd be the tire. All right, so we have this sitting in here, and we have the bolts already in here because they're gonna sit flush in there. We're gonna line them up. There's 3 of them that go in the downward direction. And what we do is we're gonna utilize the small nut and put them in there.
There's not a lot of clearance on this
Yeah,
application.
there's not a lot of clearance. If there is more clearance, you can use a larger nut if you want, and these have a little smaller clearance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put those in there and just snug them first. Just snug them up a little bit because we still got to get our adjustment method, because there's 3 more options that it can adjust to, and we have to from our readings from earlier. We will place these in here to get the proper readings. All right, so the L is facing the outside. With these sitting in here, this to the most inside would be, you get a 1/4 degree for the plate itself, you get a 1/4 degree for the first increment. So this is set up as a 1/2 degree positive camber change. You put it over so they're sitting in the middle groove, which is the middle notch. That would be 3/4 of positive camber. You move them all the way out. So the strut is going to the most positive side. That will give you 1 degree of positive camber change. All right. So as we install these in here, you have to make sure that there's proper clearance so that this still can spin back and forth. When this does spin, if you have a nut that's too long, and it's more on the other torus and the focus, but if this is here and it binds, You just gotta make sure you have proper clearance. So if you put a large nut in there, you know, everything will get bound up. And then the other part is these do spin. Like this one does spin freely. And what you do is when we put it in the vehicle, that's why we have this nut. It's a special nut so that when it goes in nice. And then when it pulls hard, tight, it will get tight in the vehicle. So those are normal for this to spin freely. You just gotta make sure you don't jam those up because then they won't. So, all right.
Let's put it in.
So video of strut going in.
Okay, so we'll get it up in here.
All right, that's good. Yep.
Now once these are all tight, we'll go back down to the bottom.
And the torque goes to 25 foot-pounds.
All right, so we're gonna tighten these down. We're gonna get them snug with a normal ratchet, and then we'll make sure we torque them to spec. For this specific vehicle, it's 25 foot-pounds.
So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna line the strut back up to the knuckle. We're gonna line up the tab on the back with the slot for the pinch bolt on the back side, and we're gonna push it back up into place. You may need a small jack to get it back into place. Recording.
Okay, so now we're basically just sliding this bottom of the strut back in here. You see we're gonna try to get this lined up so that the bolt will go through.
Action.
All right, now you just bolt back in. Maybe.
All right.
Okay, so then just get this tight.
All right, so it's time to install the sway bar link back to where it belongs. So you just slide it through the appropriate hole. You go ahead and get this nut started. And if the stud starts to spin, oftentimes there's a hex key cut into this, or in this instance, there's a 16mm slot cut into the back you can get a wrench on.
All right, so you see the groove in here? What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the brake line back in. Just like that. All right, then we take this little clip, line it back up. Sometimes you gotta just give it a little persuasion with a hammer. Just tap it in there nice and gently. Get in there till it is secure.
The final step is to throw the wheel back on and torque it to spec.
All right, so we have these nice little labels that read equipped with aftermarket alignment kits. Please call for technical support. So you take this, clean up the surface here, take the sticker off. This is so that the next bloke, when he installs this and he sees this, he knows that it has that kit in there and he can call us so he can learn how to install it. All right, we have this kit installed on this side, and with this kit, because it changes the ride height by a 1/4 inch, we need to install it on both sides. So we're gonna install the kit on the other side and set it up. All right, so you can see we have the tower plates already installed on both sides, and we have the camber back within spec for both sides and equal. We have the caster and the toe, and we also have the rear camber and toe. Everything is set up and ready to go.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Pro Series Garage. We are done with this focus here. We got everything back into spec, so guess we're on to the next project.
Sounds good. Have a good day.